Welcome back, and it's another cold morning here in Pennsylvania as I continue to tell my very non-linear coming out story 10 minutes at a time. And today I wanted to talk about one of the most difficult parts about my coming out story, and that was coming out to my mother. So I'm going to title this one Coming Out to My Mom, and let's talk about it. So for reference, my mom is she's pretty much in charge. um, she is a very conservative woman, and she is, I don't know, like if you were to meet her, she's very humble and very subtle, but she's very idealistic, and she's very set on her ways. So from the outside, meeting my mom, you would think she's the most reasonable person because she is such a sweet human being. She really is. But when you get to know the real her, she's still extremely sweet. But she definitely is set on her ways and is has pretty extreme views about everything. So I grew up with her, and I knew that, you know what I mean. And I knew that she grew up in the church and that she believed everything that is said in the church word by word. So my mom is one of the biggest reasons why I waited so long to come out. I was terrified. I was terrified of being shunned by her. I was terrified of her stop talking to me. I was terrified of everything. And I had a reason to be. Like my mom's side of the family, I love them to death, and a lot of them are really good people, but they're all very hard headed, um, set in their ways type of people. And my mom falls right into the trend. So I was terrified to come out to my mother, but um it was a time when I came out to my mom where I knew that in order to live my most genuine life, I was gonna have to come out in general, and I didn't want my mom to find out about it. I will talk about my more public coming out soon because that's a funner, more lighter story. But I knew that before that took place, my mom had to know what was going on, and I had to have a sit down conversation with her, and I had to let her know everything before I came out, and that was hard. So the day I came out, I had made up my mind, and just to give a little bit of a background story, I was going through a time where, I mean, I was still married to my wife when I came out to my mom. Um, but we were definitely at a place in our marriage where I knew that it wasn't gonna last forever. Like I knew, I was like, in my breakup, I will definitely, I promise, because I've had messages and I've had people ask me about it, and I will cover my breakup. I seriously will, and I will cover my marriage. I just haven't gotten there yet. But my breakup was not because of my sexuality. There were a lot of factors that played into my breakup. But I knew that if I broke up, if I went single, that I knew that I was gonna live my best life, and I knew that I wasn't gonna limit myself to a gender. Um, Therefore, I knew that I had to come out to mom. So the day I came out to her, I went to her house, and I was determined on the ride home, on the ride to her house, as I drove there, that I was just gonna come out and say it. And when I got there, I just couldn't. I did everything to avoid talking to my mom um that whole day. I mean, I talked to her, but I didn't talk to her about that. But in the back of my mind, I had gave myself a goal. My goal was, you're not leaving this house until your mom knows your reality. And I knew I was gonna tell her that day. So towards the end of the day, I took her out to the deck and I set her down, and I stalled. Like, I told her that I had to talk to her, but I beat around the bush like 20,000 different times until I finally came out and I told her. Like, I told her I was into guys. I told her I was attracted to guys. I told her that 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 was part of my life. That I like men and I like women too, but I like men, and this was who I was. And I told my mom that I just wanted to live a more genuine life and I wanted to be more me. I knew that God was gonna come up, so I brought up my defense of who I was in front of God, and I talked to her about that. And my mom, she was she was cooler than I thought she would be about it. Like, she really tried to be supportive and say, tell me she loves me and she has my back. Um, she didn't seem 100% comfortable with the idea, and it's been about 2 years now. And I think she tries to be as supportive as possible, but I think she tries to avoid the subject. And it's bummy because, like, I just feel like I don't have her full support. But at the same time, I have my full support. And I think my mom will eventually come around to it. I she's definitely more open than I thought she would ever be. But you can tell she's uneasy with the fact that her son is not straight. um but I think she loves me, and I think she has done what she can to be welcoming and accepting and loving towards me. And I think things are going to improve with in the future. You know, like, I look forward to having her see me and see my lifestyle as just this normal thing, and this is who I am. And I waited so long to come out because I wanted to make sure that I was ready for any of my mom's reaction. Because that day, if my mom would have turned her back on me, I was prepared to walk away and just be me and not and know that I don't have my mother's support. Um, I was prepared for everything, and I think that had I come out earlier, even the reaction she's given now, the kind of like, let's not talk about it, I'm indifferent to it, but I love you and accept you. I think that would have been really hurtful had I come out at 18, even had I come out in my 20s. But I think I'm at a place in life where I accept things for face value, and I try to soak in the good and reject the bad. And I'm opinionated and I'm outspoken and I verbalize my emotions. So I'm at a spot where I feel comfortable that I can handle the different situations that I can possibly face. Now, I'm glad I waited. I'm extremely glad I waited to talk to my mom, because I think that with everything that went on in my youth, which I will talk more about in this video, had I added that to the mix, had I added being LGBT to the mix, there's a good chance I wouldn't be alive. I've talked about my struggles with depression, with anxiety, with my thoughts of self harm, and some of the things that I've gone through. I think that the stress, the anxiety of being in a conservative Hispanic traditional household and being bisexual, just it would have been the reason why. So I'm glad that I waited, and I'm glad that I came out at a time where I was mentally prepared for the worst. And even though it wasn't terrible, the difficult things that came with it, I was able to handle, process, and manage. So, anyways, I'm sure we'll talk more about my mother in the future, but I'm coming up on my 10 minutes. So, I just wanted to say, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. You guys are a bunch of badasses, and don't you forget it. I love you guys. Peace.